heti alkoi pätkiä.
Hello everybody. This is first shot of the Best Hockey Bets video podcast, and my name is Tuomas Kanervala, and I'm with Tomi Rantanen here, who is our hockey expert. We will go through all the NHL teams before the season, and then during the season we'll have a review of the games, preview of the next games, and most importantly, the bets that we would like to make for these games. But now, preseason reports for every team, starting from the bottom. So we have first the worst team of the NHL. And based on our simulations, Tomi, which team it is?
Probably comes as no surprise to anyone that we have at the bottom Detroit Red Wings. Once again, just like last season, they are not any better this time around. They're in their 5th or 6th year of a rebuild already, not really doing any better. Last year they won only 17 games in their 71 games played before the season was cancelled for them. While Ottawa Senators was the second to last, and they won double that amount. So Detroit was by far the worst team in the Eastern Conference last season. The history of Detroit, Tuomas, you probably have some information on our simulations, how we've done.
So if we now look last 3 seasons of Detroit performance and accuracy of our simulations, there has been 235 games, and they haven't won too many of those. So there's only 45 home wins and 34 away wins. And if you have been betting for Detroit, you have been losing money. So based on our simulations, it's only total bets on home games where you have been making some money during this 3-year span. And like Tomi mentioned, they haven't been very good, but we predicted them to be a little bit better, and that results quite a bit side value games that have expected value to bet for Detroit, especially away games. So over 70% of Detroit games away, they've had some expected value to make money. But like I said, they haven't performed as we've simulated, and basically only side value or expected value that have made money has been the first home game after their road trip. So they've come home from the road trip and they have been playing as simulations have expected. And when there's now new setup for the divisional games or only a few games during this season, basically the Nashville is the team that we would like to look when Detroit is basically visiting them, because they've met 3 times during these last 3 years and Detroit has won all of them. All of those games have naturally been expected value for Detroit, and bettors have made over 400 profit by betting $100 per game. But how do you see, Tomi, what are the other topics that we need to take a look for this new divisional alignment or new season that is not something that we've seen before?
Of course, it's a completely different situation for all the teams. They're playing a lot of games back to back, and even 3 or 4 games in 5 days' time. So it's a completely new situation for each team, and possibly it might be a good thing for these a little bit, let's say, worse teams in the league, because all of the teams will be a bit tired. There will be more rotation used, but at the same time, there is not going to be as much travel as before. So it will be a very interesting season to see how different teams will approach this. But for Detroit, I think what the GM Stevie Yzerman is trying to do is to get a lot of ice time for his younger players. They have now brought in a lot of support in veteran players like Mark Stahl, Bobby Ryan. So we're looking for Philip Zadinas and, of course, Dylan Larkin even playing better than before. But it's a new situation. So for Detroit fans, I don't think there is time to despair at the moment. It might be a promising thing to get some of the youngsters a little bit more ice time this time around.
You mentioned those young upcoming stars that Detroit have, but are the veterans supporting them? Because, for example, the goalie tandem, Grease and Bernier, both are over 30, and they are not any kind of star caliber goalies in NHL. So, do they have something that makes them to be better than last few seasons?
It's a tough call to say if they're better than last season or a couple of seasons ago. Of course, both of the goaltenders are used to facing a lot of shots. Greiss played with the New York Islanders with Barry Trotz, so of course they had a really solid defense, which Detroit does not have. So Greiss will be in for quite a lot of work this time around. But I think that it's something that, again, is what the Jeff Blashill and the coaches of Detroit are looking into, is to make their defense a little bit more solid. And that's one way to do it, is to have a goaltender who can maybe win them some games, but still not a top quality goaltender, because that can help the players to cheat a bit. If you have, Carey Price or one of the top goaltenders, you don't need to defend that well, which has been a massive issue for Detroit this past, let's say, 5 seasons at least.
We have simulated all the NHL games during the last, I think, 11, 12 seasons, and our preseason predictions have predicted Detroit to be second to last in year ago, and then not making the playoffs few years earlier. However, we have predicted them to perform better than they actually have done, because they've been dead last in year ago, and also bottom of the Eastern Conference now a few years in a row. So how about this time? What kind of results we are predicting, and is there this time also this kind of overperformance by the team compared to our season simulation expected?
I think Detroit is going to be exactly the same as last season, so there is not much change to that. Like I said, we're looking for Tyler Bertuzzi, Philip Zadina in the offense to do a little bit better. It's still very much Anthony Mantha, Dylan Larkin there with our projections for the players. They are close to scoring 50 points in the short season, so 56 games played. They're a bit under the point per game. But after those guys, the top line, there is really a massive drop, and mostly veterans that are not exactly the top caliber players. So it's hard to see Detroit actually winning more games than last season, even if the youngsters might take steps forward.
And betting companies are also thinking that they may have been they will be the worst team of the NHL, because odds to win Stanley Cup are quite high. So do you think it would make sense to bet this kind of long shot this time?
If you're looking for a lot of excitement and fun stuff to do with very little money, then sure. But according to the simulations, there is no way that Detroit is going to even make the playoffs, let alone win the Stanley Cup. So I don't see any worth, even with the odds of, 20,000 or something. So you can put $1 in, but not much else, because it's very, very unlikely to happen.
maybe we save that dollar for future and try to find out some value bets for other teams.
Yeah, this time around it's really easy to go with the odds makers, but we will have some surprises along the way.
Okay, very good. We'll continue with LA Kings.